Well, thanks for joining us here today. We are going to be doing our March, which is one of my favorite months of all time.
One of
One of
the favorite, I thought.
the favorite. There's a lot of good stuff going on in March. Face it. Basketball, St. Patrick's Day, weather's starting to pick up and be nicer.
Yep. St. Patrick's Day basketball is a 1-2 punch for you.
It is.
You might not be able to be matched. I think you're a Turkey Day guy overall, right? That's your favorite holiday?
Yeah, Thanksgiving is usually the day, but yeah, this is pretty fun too. The problem is I'm an adult now. You do all these adulting things. Like when you were younger in college, like this was it. You'd go to the St. Patrick's thing, you'd go watch games, you'd have responsibilities, you went to class kind of, sort of.
I can see the look on some of the young employees that we have here. The look on their face Monday morning was, you're still hungover, aren't you? So I'm glad I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yep, no, that's us. So, all right, so today we're going to not do the dad joke. I'm replacing it. Ready? So this month, replacing it.
Okay.
Who do you have winning the tournament?
Oh, sadly, I have Duke. Partially because I put in a future, game over responsibly, by the way, a future before the season started for Duke to win the national championship. But I just think that they're the most balanced team, even without Duke play. So I'm a Duke guy.
Duke guy. So my second question is, who is a sleeper? And by sleeper, they have to be a 5 seed or less that's going to make an impact.
Oh, man. I mean, again, a team I dislike. Michigan just won the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah,
can they carry that momentum through to disrupt some things? Maybe.
They play your style of ball. They have a lot of bigs. And you were a big man back in the day, so you probably fit your style pretty nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I have Michigan going pretty far. Yeah.
So I have my team. I have Duke in a lot of brackets, but I also have St. John's winning in a few brackets. They are on a roll, and Patino is, although kind of a criminal, like his record. Everywhere he goes, he wins. It's insane.
I think if not for Coach K, we're talking Patino, one of the greatest.
One of the greatest, because his list of places, like everywhere from like Providence to Iona to everywhere, he just wins.
He's just a good basketball coach.
And then
a lot of baggage, though.
A lot of baggage, but yeah, they're winning and they're super athletic. They can't shoot very well, but they're really athletic.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I'm excited. It's hard for me to go down the bracket and pick upsets just like anybody else because I'm so enthralled by the chalk picks.
That's right.
But we'll see what happens Thursday. We're going to watch some college basketball at work.
It'll be fun. My sleeper, by the way, we'll see how it goes. Number 11, VCU. I think they're well coached this year, and we'll see if they make a little run. Now, if you're doing your brackets, you have to pick at least 1, 5, and 12. That's happened, I think, every year. Like the last 15 years. So make sure you pick at least one of those. Absolutely. And then sneak in there and get a 1 being upset early, like second round, third round. Just that always happens.
It always happens too. Yeah. So it's man, every year you look at that bracket and it's just like I wish we could do red. Multiple
lots of red.
But before the red, you look at it and you go, is this the year? Is this the year that I finally hit it?
Every lottery ticket you buy, every whatever, like this is if I get it. Yeah. So, all right, cool. There's your picks. And if you have picks of your own, throw them in the comments. We'll see how you guys do too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The name of the game for March has been, and we were just talking a little bit before we got started here, is patience. I believe we are seeing a very steady market right now. Mm-hmm. I think I have a handful of buyers that are just being patient, and they're looking, but they're patiently looking. They're like, if the right thing pops up, great. If not, I'll just continue looking. I think at the moment, most of my buyers have seen 15 plus houses, and I think a lot of people have been pre-approved. They want to see what their numbers are. A lot of them have gotten pretty solid incomes right now. Yeah. And with the rates, we're getting a lot of folks that just want to see. So they're having a lot of conversations with you. Am I accurate?
I think the pre-approval right now is a very hurry up and wait conversation. Yep. Hurry up to get pre-approved because that house could go on the market tomorrow, but it also could go on the market in 4 months. You just never know when that perfect house for you is going to go on the market and when it might slip away.
Yep.
So, if you're asking me when you should get pre-approved, it's yesterday, but are you going to sit there and maybe give me a pay stub every 30 days? That's just the name of the game. You have to stay ready at all times. What's the phrase? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that in this market, especially in Southern Maryland, it is very balanced. We're just waiting for more inventory. I'll say this. I have a Northern Virginia buyer right now who submitted a very strong offer. and there were 22 offers on this house.
Holy cow!
So remember,
We're not seeing too much of that though.
we don't see that in Southern Maryland.
No.
You know, the competitive nature of this market is it's in different pockets. Not to say that there won't be multiple offers, but just remember that if you're seeing that there's that much activity, it could be a different market than what you're looking in.
Yeah.
So just talk to Billy and myself about what we're seeing in Southern Maryland
Oh,
specifically.
okay. I know what you're saying with that. You're saying regionalize the information you're getting.
Correct. Oh, correct.
Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. So I'll take it one step back though, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
How long? So once you do the pre-approval, a lot of people want to know, like, how long is that pre-approval good for?
Great question. It depends on the expiration of your documents. So a credit report is good for 4 months. I don't have to pull credit for another 4 months.
Good.
A pay stub, you know, you're going to get a pay stub every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks or every month. Every time you get one, and if you send it to me, your pre-approval is now up to date.
Okay.
If you get a bank statement each month, you send me the bank statement each month. You keep your pre-approval up to date that way. Or I talked to you 60 days ago, a house comes on the market, you say, hey, I want to go look at it and submit an offer. I say, okay, just send me a pay stub and a bank statement, and now it's revived. Okay. So just keep it updated.
And credit cards? Keep certain, you don't always want them paying them off, right? You want a certain balance, but you'll probably have that discussion with them as you sit down with them.
For years, I always said 30% of the credit limit was the marker. It's really more like 10% now. The bureaus are scoring people much higher if you have 10% of the outstanding, 10% of the credit limit or beneath in terms of your outstanding balances. If you go above that, they're dinging you a little bit more than they did in the past. So that's correctable. If you come through and let's say you're a 710 and you have a couple credit cards to pay down or off, we can correct that in a matter of a week. Hey, pay off the credit card. We do a rescore for you in a week, and now you're up to 740, 750, something like that. So that credit card stuff is correctable.
I got you. Perfect. So now you know that. You're all set. Now let's get back to the regional. I'm going to circle back with that too, because the other one I thought was important to kind of just step in there. So the regionalized information, right? So yeah, when you see things in Virginia or DC or on the news, believe it or not, the news just throws a blanket statement at you and says random things that they pulled national information.
Yeah.
Do know, I think in one of our previous videos, you actually had a chart where we sat like around 6th when the market was great. And when the market tanked, we were like 8. Like we just leveled it out. Like we are always kind of in a really good spot. We have lots of good jobs. We have DC and Annapolis and Virginia people coming our way. We have really good schools. We seem really vanilla and boring here.
Yes, but that you should like that as a homeowner and the DMV. That hey, we don't have these boom or bust cycles. Some of these towns like Austin, Denver, Miami. Colorado Springs, Miami, they saw these 20% appreciation numbers when things went crazy a couple of years ago, and then all of a sudden they see these huge dips in home value. We don't see that here. We're just very consistent. You just annually your home appreciates 6-8%. And we should be happy in the DMV that we have that sort of dynamic.
Yep.
You know, I think that in terms of buying a house, you do it as early as possible because then that 6% or 8% can start, that clock can start ticking. So, you know, buy early and often.
Yeah, and the other part of it is too, like when you're making those payments, you're paying principal and interest on certain proportions. So you're paying the loan down. The thing is that the home values are growing at a certain rate, maybe not always 6, maybe 2s, maybe 4s, but within the 2 to 6 range every year around here.
I will say this:
we're pretty steady.
There's a woman. Her name's Diana Olick, and she's a correspondent for I think CSNBC, one of those publications, and she always takes the median home price report and sways it. Right, the median home price. Think about the word median. It's the middle. It's not the average.
Not good.
It's the middle.
Yeah.
So if you have a market where more, let's say, $250,000 homes sell, it doesn't mean that when the median home price comes in lower, it doesn't mean that everybody's home value is going down. It just means that more homes in that price range sold than in the higher price range. She takes that number almost on a monthly basis. It's actually incredible. And she gets on CSNBC or whatever it is, and she basically says median home price came in lower again, and she is an alarmist. So again, it's just something to pay attention to if you're reading that kind of stuff or paying, watching that kind of stuff. You want to look at regional real estate statistics.
And usually what I do when I set up our home buyers with their home search, I usually start really broad, and I do that on purpose just to give them a bigger scope of what's happening around them. They may not be able to afford all of it. They may not need all those features, but we start really broad. They see what's going on all around the area, and then as we start looking at houses, I slowly narrow it down.
Sure.
And that's usually the way I do it, because I want them to see the whole picture. I want them to see what's happening in Dunkirk as much as Chesapeake Beach, as much as Lusby, the whole thing. So that way they can make a best decision for themselves.
Also, think about it this way, in Southern Maryland specifically, for the last few years, a home in a certain price range is in such demand. I'm just going to generally say, let's just throw out a $350,000 to $400,000 house.
Those go quick.
Those go so quickly because, first of all, the first-time home buyer price range has scaled upward for several reasons. One, because incomes are higher, wages are higher, and I think that young people have tastes that are a little bit different than maybe
A little more giving
10, 20 years ago. So a first-time home buyer is looking for a different type of property. But either way, 350, 400, those fly off the shelves. $850,000 or a $900,000 house, if you think about that type of buyer, they probably already own a home, and maybe they're a little bit more patient on purchasing that move-up build. So maybe that house doesn't fly off the market quite like a 350 to 400 does. So you have to also get it granular and talk about types of homes in types of areas.
Yeah, all that's great. And so you just got to be. If you're thinking about buying, the theme is going to be patience, and we just got to be patient. We just got to be ready, and you have to have the criteria set, and you have to know what you're looking for. And once it pops up, be able to hop on it. But just make sure it's the right one, because if you're going to spend this money and get yourself into a 6% interest rate, which is all the norm, just be sure it's the right thing for you. That's all.
Yeah. And again, I've preached it on these videos for years. Come to the office. We can do things virtually. You can fill out an application. That's all fine. I can send you videos and we talk on the phone. But if you come and you sit down and we talk about all those dynamics, and I reiterate the things that we're seeing, and it can change in an instant. A market changes quickly. Coming to the office and talking about it, there's a huge benefit to that. So let's try to line up our schedules and sit down, and maybe Billy and I are there with you, both of us.
Yeah, and plus you should see his coffee maker. This thing is incredible.
It
can make all kinds of different things. Like stop on by, he'll make an espresso for you.
Absolutely, yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, we're baristas around here, part-time baristas.
It's $10. All set.
That actually is an entendre for mortgage too. $10.
Oh yeah,
very good. Billy, wow, what a
didn't do that on purpose.
Book ended with dad jokes. There you go.
So there you go. All right, we'll see if Duke or St. John's wins it this year, and if so, one of us has got it. We probably will both be wrong, but that's perfectly fine.
It's either we're both wrong or we're right and everybody else is right, because I'm sure Duke is the most popular choice.
Easy pick. Yeah. Well, thank you again for this month. I'll be on the lookout. Maybe next month we'll have a little more. But the good news is we were boring this month. That's the good news. Like we had like nice, steady, reaffirming information to give you.
Yes.
When we have panic or sporadic information, it's more entertaining, but not good for you.
I mean, we hope
vanilla is good.
In a few months, we hope that rates are better and that inventory is up. But again, we can't assume any of that.
I think it's going to be steady. It's going to be a nice, steady year. Everybody's going to calm down, and it's just going to be right off into the sunset.
And anybody that tells you that it's going to change in any of the ways that I just said, they don't know.
They don't know.
Because 2 years ago, a lot of people were saying rates would be much lower by now, and they have stayed high.
Yeah, we're not going to commit to that one this time. We're just going to say even keel, stick with it, find what's right for you, be patient. That's the way to go right now, I think. So there you go. If you have questions, we're easy to find on social media, or 410-708-8858.
443-624-0235.
Easy to get a hold of us. So thank you again for this month. We'll see you in April.
See ya.